So how do we define inventory? Inventory is, as I said, it is defined as the ideal stock of any item or resource that is used in any organization. Now here, it's not necessary to be an organization. Organization is a generalized word. We can have the example of inventories even at our home. Like when we keep stock of the food stuff in our house so that it is sufficient for a week, and then we refuel it on every week depending upon the uh, type of item. Like if it is about the item which can be stored for long duration, like wheat, rice, flour, sugar, so we keep the stock for 1 month or 2 months depending upon the family. Whereas when it is about the things, consumable things that need to be consumed like within 2 or 3 days or maximum duration of 5 days, otherwise it gets spoiled, like milk, yogurt, fresh vegetables, fruits, then we maintain the stock at our house in such a way that the moment it's going to finish, we'll go and buy again. So that is nothing but inventory. Okay, so this is basically how inventory is defined. Now, what do we mean by inventory system? Inventory system, it is a set of strategies that control and observe the level of inventory. So it means it gives you the ideas, the various strategies that you are using, so that you know that how much you have to keep the stock of. Means this is the minimum stock that you should keep, because it should not be like that you overstock some item and then later on that item gets spoiled. So this is the so we are going to work on the strategies that controls the level of inventory. That is nothing but the inventory system. So this system is responsible. What is the purpose of this system? It is responsible for identifying the following things. So it requires it is able to give you the required level of inventory to maintain, means how much to keep in the stock or how much to store. It gives you time to reload the stock, means after how much time or what is the duration that you need to reload the stock. It also identify the optimal size of order to be placed. Okay, you are going to restore it, but how much you are going to restore? Like, okay, you are going to buy something, but how much you have to buy? You should have an idea. You should have some calculation. Based on that only you can store it. It's not like that you just randomly go and get the things. So the optimal size is required. That will come through the inventory system. Okay, now what is the basic purpose? So basic purpose is only two. It is having two main basic purpose. First is you should know when to order, means when you have to place the order and how much to order. So these are the two main basic purpose of inventory. So now, as I said, inventory, so the main purposes of inventory can be listed as to maintain the independence of the operation, to meet variation in the product demand, to allow flexibility in the project scheduling, to provide a safeguard for variation in raw material delivery time, and to take advantage of economic purchase order size. And there are many other domain specific reasons for that. Like when we talk about to maintain the independence of operations, so it may be like we say that there are different costs associated with by in making each new production setup. Inventory allows management to reduce the number of setups. Okay, so this is how the inventory is useful to maintain the independence of the operation. When we similarly, if we talk about the to meet the variation in product demand, here we can say how we can explain it, like if the demand for a product is known precisely, like how much it is required to be ordered, it may be possible, but again it's not economical that it is always possible. But suppose it is possible that it is possible to produce the product exactly to meet the demand. Like if we know from the beginning that this is going to be the demand, like approximate idea you are having, then that much quantity is only going to be produced. Okay, however, this demand is not completely known, but what we can say, we can keep a safety margin so that the stock will be consumed to absorb the variation. Okay, so in this way, these are the different purposes of inventories are maintained. Okay, now what next? When we in, talk about any inventory system, it should be having some cost, because in inventory we are talking about, it's just a like, what is it? It is the stock that should be maintained. So generally when we maintain a stock, it should be kept in such a way, like in such a place that it can be item can be delivered quickly when a customer need it, right? If we talk about the organization, so to maintain that inventory, there are certain costs associated with it. So what are different type of costs associated with the inventory? First one is holding cost, or it is also known as carrying cost. So like, it is a generalized word, so it includes the so like, as the name signifies, holding cost or carrying cost. So holding means if you are storing the items, so this include the storage facilities, handling charges, insurance charges, breakage charges, depreciation charges, taxes, um, and many more things like opportunity cost of capital. So these are the kind of costs that are also associated with inventory. So these kind of costs are called holding cost or carrying cost. Like suppose you place an order from some company or some shop, so they may be having some delivery charges, so they will be charging you to deliver the item from that place to your place. So that include the cost, like in between, suppose that item get broke due to some reason, so it is there will be a cost associated with. So those kind of costs are considered into a holding cost or carrying cost. Okay, then the next type of cost is setup cost, or we can say that production change cost. So this kind of cost occurs when we say that different products are involved to make the necessary materials, like it is needing many things, many different equipments to make one equipment. Okay, like if we talk about the car, it is having different parts like doors, locks, wheels, steering, and other body parts. So it all needs different setups or different production places. So the cost associated with it is known as setup cost or product change cost. Then it is ordering cost. This cost refer to the managerial and clerical cost to prepare the purchase or production order. Like whenever we place an order, although now the systems are online, but still when we are ordering anything online, we have to fill the enter the details, right? Like how much we want to order, what we want to order, how much in the quantity, where we want to place the order, and many other criteria depending upon the thing that you are ordering. So these costs which involves in like purchase or production of the order, these costs are known as ordering cost. Okay, since sometimes like the company need to track the orders, so for that also, that cost also considered into ordering cost. The next type of cost can be shortage cost. So this cost will occur like, suppose a stock of an item is depleted, means item is either not available, okay, or the item is or the item that you have ordered is cancelled, then such costs are covered under shortage cost. Okay, so we say that this kind of cost occur when the demand is not met and the order is cancelled. Okay, so this is a situation of stock out. So this is a kind of shortage cost. Okay, so these are the different costs associated with the inventory. So now the task of the inventory system is to reduce the cost so that there will be more benefit of it. So what are the different kind of demands in the inventory? Okay, so now demands can be independent and it can be dependent. Now how do we distinguish between dependent and independent demands? So we can say that demand is independent, if the demand for various items is not related with each other, like you are means demand of a specific item is not related with another item, so we say that this demand is independent. Like for example, if you have a workstation produce many parts which are not related but that meets some external demand requirement, so those kind of demands are called independent demand. Whereas dependent demands are like if the need of one item is a direct result of the need of some other item. Okay, then these kind of demands are called dependent demands. Let's consider the example of and let's say automobile company. Okay, so suppose a company decided that they want to produce 500 cars a day. Okay, then definitely they need 2000 wheels and tires for that production. Okay, so the number of wheels and tires needed is dependent upon the production level and it cannot be derived separately. Okay, on the other hand, if we talk about the demand of cars, which is independent, why we are saying it is independent? Because the demand of the cars, like how many cars you are going to sell in, how many people are going to buy the cars, like how much the demand of the car in the market, it is coming from different external sources to the automobile firm and which is not part of any other products, so it is not related with the demand for the other products. So that's why that the demand of the cars is independent, whereas when we are talking about the production of cars, the demand of the tires and wheels are dependent. Okay, I hope it's clear now. Now, how do we define the inventory system? In the inventory system, the demand is characterized by using the probability distribution and it is by maintaining the stock so that the risk associated with stock out is managed. This is the main function is of the inventory system, which can be done by using the probability distribution. Okay, now depending upon this means it can be categorized into that. So depending upon it, we have single period inventory model and multi-period inventory model. Now how these two models are different? So in a single period inventory model, it is a model where one time purchasing decision, where the purchase is designed to cover a fixed period of time and item will not be reordered. So it is defined as one time purchasing decision where the purchase is designed to cover a fixed period of time and item will not be reordered. Okay, whereas a multi-period inventory, how we define it? It is an item that will be purchased periodically, where the inventory should be kept in stock to be used on demand. So see the difference here, it is one time purchasing decision, okay, and the item will not be reordered. Then that is called single period inventory model. Whereas in multi-period inventory model, the item is purchased periodically, like after a certain specific period, the item is going to be reordered. Okay, So that's the difference between single period inventory model and a multi-period inventory model. So these are two different kind of inventory systems that we are going to study. Let's consider an example of a single period inventory model. So this problem will make us more familiar with what exactly we mean by a single period inventory model. So for that, I am considering the example of newsperson problem. So the question is, a person who is selling the newspapers, he wanted to know that how many newspapers to put in sales outside a metro station each morning. So this is the question for each morning. Okay, so it's like a single period, means for each day. Okay, now what are the different situation he is facing? If this person is not able to put enough papers, it should be enough paper, sorry. If the person is not able to put enough papers, some customers will not be able to purchase the paper, right? And they will go without buying it. So what will happen? The person will lose the profit that he is going to get by selling those papers to those people, right? So he is losing the profit associated with those sales. Second situation, if the person placed too many papers then required, like suppose he kept 100 papers and only 50 of them sold, then what will happen? He is going to get the other papers, the 50 unsold papers. He already paid the money for that. So he is going to bear the loss, which will drop the revenue for him for that day. So we are going to use inventory model to understand like how he will know, how he will calculate what is the approximate or you can say approximate number of stock, or how many papers he should keep so that he will have minimum loss. Okay, so this is the problem. So another example of single period inventory model is suppose a person is selling t-shirts promoting a championship, basketball or a football game. So depending upon which teams will be playing, the person will print the shirts with the proper team logos. This is like when this is normal phenomena that we see, that when two teams are playing, the people wear the t-shirts with the logo of those teams to show the support towards the teams. So a person is planning to sell those kind of t-shirts. So now what is the situation here? How many shirts to be printed? This is his question, like how many shirts he should print. To know that, what are the scenarios? The scenarios are, the shirts sold prior to game can be probably sold at a premium price, means the price will be high, whereas those sold after the game will need to be abruptly discounted. So it depending upon, like obviously when the match is not finished yet, so those t-shirts will be more in demand, but once the game gets over, they will no longer be in demand. So he has to still sell it in whatever price he is getting. So he has to give discount to those t-shirts. Okay, so again this is an example of a single period inventory model. Let's go. So let's start thinking about it. So let's go back to question number 1 of newsperson problem, like how many newspapers to put in sales outside a metro station each morning. So to understand this, let's get some cost associated with it. So what we need to do is, we need to consider the possible profits and loss related with keeping either too many papers or insufficient amount of papers, okay, or inadequate amount of papers. Like what will happen, means what will be the profit and losses if he keep the stock of many extra papers, and what will happen, means what are the loss associated when the person, he or she is keeping less papers which are inadequate to the demand of the person. So let's say the person purchases a newspaper in 200 paisa and sells the paper for 500 paisa. Okay, so we have the cost price and we have the selling price. Okay, now every system will be having different scenarios. So for this one we are having the cost price associated with the newspaper and the selling price. So now marginal cost is, what do we mean by marginal cost? It is the change in the total cost that arise when the quantity produced is incremented by 1 unit. This is what do we mean by, how do we define a marginal cost. So like if there is a difference between a difference of 1 unit in the quantity produced or quantity purchased, okay, the change in cost, the relative change in the cost is nothing but the marginal cost. So now let's talk about underestimating the demand. Suppose the person underestimate the demand of newspaper, means he keep only 80 papers to sell, whereas there are 100 people comes to purchase the paper. So what will happen? 20 peoples, 100 minus 80, 20 peoples will go without buying it. So what will happen? He will have a loss in the profit of 300 paisa. Now how do we get this 300 paisa? Because see, the cost price of the paper is 200 paisa, whereas the selling price is 500 paisa. So what is the profit? Profit is always selling price minus cost price. So if selling price is 500, cost price is 200, so it is 300 paisa. So if he is underestimating the demand, he is losing the profit of 300 paisa on each paper. Whereas if he is overestimating the demand, means if he is keeping 100 papers but there are only 40 people who come to buy the paper, then what will happen? This amount of 60 papers, the unsold papers, he have to pay from his pocket. So loss of 200 paisa for a paper as a result of buying too many papers. So we have two costs. So this is important to know. Two costs associated: underestimating the demand, the cost associated with underestimating the demand, and overestimating the demand. Okay, so generally overestimating the demand, it means the things that you are going to, that is the cost that you are using it. Okay, I hope it's clear. Now to understand this, let's do some mathematical calculation. So let's denote CO as the cost per unit demand overestimated, CU as the cost per unit demand underestimated. So O for overestimated, U for underestimated. So it's easy to memorize the symbols. Now we are going to work with the probability. So the probability that unit will not be sold. How to find the probability that the unit will not be sold? It is given by this formula: CU over CU, CO plus CU. Probability is always less than or equal to. Okay, this is important. Okay, the probability, what this P represent? The probability that the unit will not be sold. Okay, now this represents that as long as probability of selling what we order is less than or equal to above ratio, the size of order can be increased. So if your probability is matching this thing, you are already having the overestimating cost and underestimating cost, right? So then it is easy to calculate this thing. So as long as your probability is less than this ratio, the size of order can be increased. Okay, so this is one thing. The second thing is, now if we want to identify this is what we get we get the value of the probability. Okay, now if we want to identify the number of extra quantity to be ordered, then for that one we should get the norm inverse of the probability. So this can be done by using the standard tables, okay, or you can even use MS Excel to find this value. Okay, I'll explain it how we can do it. And so to identify the number of extra quantity to order, we need two things. First of all, we should calculate the probability, which can be calculated by overestimate and underestimate cost. Then we have to find norm inverse of that probability. Okay, and the standard deviation should be given. Then once these two quantities are available to you, then the number of extra quantity to be ordered is given by this formula. Just multiply the standard deviation with this norm inverse of the probability. Okay, that will give you the number of extra quantity to order. So let's consider this thing in our question, the news person problem. So still this person wants to know that how many papers to put in sales. So like the cost price is for each paper is 200 paisa, selling price is 300 paisa from the given information. Now so overestimating the demand means what will happen, he will lose 200 paisa for a paper as result of buying too many papers. So cost of overestimating will be nothing but, in this case it is same as the cost price, right? See, it depends on, it varies from situation to situation. Whereas the underestimating demand means loss of the profit of 300 paisa on each paper. So CU, we denoted by CU. How do we calculated it here in this particular situation? Selling price minus cost price, because this is the profit that we are getting, that he was getting. So it is 300 paisa. Okay, so now if we want to calculate the probability that a unit will not be sold, probability P, it is given by the formula. So we just substitute the value of cost of underestimating the demand and overestimating the demand, and this calculation will give you 0.6. Okay, so probability should be less than equal to 0.6. So as long as your probability is 0.6, he can increase the, what he can do, he can make the order less than or equal to 0.6. The size of order can be increased. So this represents that as long as the probability of selling what we order is less than or equal to 0.6, the size of order can be increased. Okay. Now let's suppose that here the standard deviation is also given. In the same example, it is given that the standard deviation is 10. Okay. Standard deviation of a given probability of stocking out is given as 10. Then we need to find the number of extra papers that this person should keep to minimize the inventory, because if he is maximizing the inventory, it means he is maximizing the cost, because inventory is having, it required some kind of cost, right, that we have seen the various costs. So we need to minimize the inventory. So how do we find it? So for this one, we already calculated that probability should be less than or equal to 0.6. So let's consider P is equal to 0.6. Then we can use this function in MS Excel. Okay. So this will give you 0.253. So in case you are not able to use laptops or computers, your PCs, then this value will be given to you, or you will be provided with a table from where you can get these values. Okay, and standard deviation is given to be 10. So we know the formula for calculating the number of extra quantity to be ordered. So it comes out to be 10 multiplies 0.253, so which is 2.53. So now it is 2.5 something, so we round it off to 3. So using the basic rounding principle, so we say that the person should carry approximately 3 extra papers on sale to minimize the inventory and to